It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hello, friends. Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You are checking out episode number 1042 of the RCWR Show for this Wednesday night of August 9th, 2023. How's it going, everybody? Hope your week has been kind. Hump Day is here. Weekend just around the corner. AEW Dynamite is officially now in the books. No poll. I don't think we need to put out a poll for this week. I think we should go ahead and do it for next week, though, for sure, going forward. But if you guys want to sound off, let me know what you thought about Dynamite for this week. Definitely let your voices be heard, whether you're checking this out live or you'll be checking this out for on demand and on the downloads. Weekend right around the corner. Not sure what a lot of you guys have planned. Me, I am going to be taking it easy between work, and I actually had got the first wave of my textbooks today for my fall semester courses. I still have a couple more books that's on the way, but it was nice being able. It was so weird too, because I had just happened to stop by the house for lunch before heading back out the door for work, and it was hilarious because I'm chilling and all of a sudden my dogs, they start barking. I'm wondering what the hell is going on, and I'm looking at them. I'm going, girls, why are you, like, nobody's at the door? What are you hearing that I'm not hearing? And so I go look through the peephole. I don't see anything. And then it clicked in my head the last second. Oh, yeah. Maybe, just maybe, some textbooks are going to be coming, because literally it's from down the street. Okay, let me open the door. Sure enough, I opened the door and there were my books right there. So I looked at them both going, my bad, right? Because they kind of had this look on their face like, see, we tried to tell you that we heard something. Somebody had approached the door, but you ain't want to listen to us. So I like that. But yeah, I got the first wave of my books, so I'm pretty excited for that and all that good stuff, man. I'm loaded up. I'm feeling good. I'm loving it. I'm just loving it. I'm on cloud 9 right now, honestly. I know last time I was on the air with you guys, I told you guys about how I unfortunately had lost my wallet. That was really bad in itself. Now, I did do what I said I did, and I got all the replacements on the way as we speak. I even was able to get in contact with my healthcare provider and told them what had happened, and they're like, Mr. Sanders, no problem. We have another card ordered for you, ready to go. You don't have to pay anything. Just wait for it in the mail. You should have it within less than a week max. So everything is fine. I'm loving the new fanny pack, by the way. I wish it's sadly not. Yeah, it's not in the studio, unfortunately. It's actually in the other room. I got to remember to show that to you guys next week, because I'm not getting paid for putting that freaking product over. But that thing, as far as durability goes, as far as how not only nice and compact it is, but how much room that you get with so many pockets, because I just discovered a whole new pocket section literally yesterday, and I'm going, dang, like, how many of these bad boys in here? So grand total, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 5 compartments. So you could do all kinds of cool stuff with each of those. Whether you're looking to put a little bit of your medication in there, make sure that it's in a prescription bottle and not just loose pills. Y'all don't need no trouble with the law now. You want to put your ID in there, you want to put a wallet in there, you want to put your car keys in there, maybe you want to put a little bit of cash or some coins, because I know some of you guys still pay cash at some toll booths that you visit and everything. Those pockets are loaded up. Maybe you want to put a candy bar in there, right? If you're a diabetic, you want to put some emergency candy stash in there. Whatever you're trying to do, the pockets can do that and then some. I really like it. It's a really great deal. And follow me on social media, including the communities page on the YouTube channel. I'll actually post the link so you guys see what I'm talking about. I was able to purchase it for a really great deal for a limited time. I don't know if it's still at play. Hopefully it is, but I was able to purchase it for $12. Normally they want $20 for it. And it's in the thousands on Amazon as far as how many people have been buying it up within the past month and everything. Really good, man. So look, nice, fun, easy show we're going to be doing here tonight. This is going to be very easy, very laid back. We're going to be in and out on this one because it's been relatively a slow wrestling week, which is actually pretty good. There's nothing wrong with that, because usually we go through a little bit of a after buzz once SummerSlam is said and done. Right now, all eyes is on that Wembley Stadium coming up on August the 27th when AEW gives us their all-in event and everything. And AEW this week doing a nice, fine job continuing to bridge the gap there to that premium event of theirs, as more matches have been announced and everything. One thing that definitely would most likely stand out to a lot of folks that checked out this week's Dynamite is the fact that, wait a minute, your main event match is a women's match, and it's not just any old women's match. It's a women's match for the AEW women's title, as Shida defended it against Anna Jay. And you're going, surely this is not a course of action that was taken to respond to what LuFisto had put out there. Surely a nerve was not struck by Tony Khan and crew about some of the things that LuFisto had to say, and surely this was just always the intent. Surely. Curious minds definitely want to know, because now you're looking at everything in retrospect and you can't help but wonder. There's a lot of things, as we had talked about on the Monday show, and we gave a great section to the whole talk of LuFisto from the Monday show. Highly would encourage you guys to go out of your way and check that out for on demand and on the downloads if you did not and you're curious my thoughts about the whole LuFisto situation. That would be episode number 1041 of the RCWR show from this past Monday. You know, you're seeing this, how it played out, and you can't help but go, okay, well, obviously LuFisto is documenting what her own personal experience was like in AEW, her perspective, what she had witnessed and everything, as a person that really does not have anything to lose and whatnot. And we saw the entire AEW locker room had pretty much unloaded on her and everything. So to see how all of that had transpired, middle of last week essentially, and going to this Dynamite, seeing this main event match, everything, just the totality of it, you just can't help but sit back in your chair and go, maybe LuFisto is on to something here with some of the things that she has talked about. And then not to mention some of the things that we have seen over the years from Tony Khan and AEW, as far as how responsive, how reactionary Tony Khan is at the least littlest thing that is negatively said about AEW as a whole. ooh, I mean, he really comes out there swinging and everything. So as far as the whole Anna Jay Sheeta match, we gotta just kind of take our time and really get into that and everything, because that pretty much comes fresh off of the heels at what opened up Dynamite tonight, and that is the fact that there was a mandatory Jericho Appreciation Society meeting, as members wanted to duke it out verbally, that is, with Chris Jericho. And pretty much Chris Jericho is no longer with a stable, at least this stable. He is no longer with these guys. Okay, so, you're looking at this and you're going, oh, but the writing was essentially on the wall for a good minute. We knew that this was coming and everything, right? I mean, I really, what this really came down to, honestly, was how was the segment? Was it executed well? Did a lot of the people that made up the JAS stable, did they bring up very valid points and everything? Jake Hager talking about how he's not really surprised given some of the actions from Chris Jericho, because when it's all said and done, out of everybody from the Appreciation Society, Hager has known Jericho the most, and they have gone up and down the road together, and they've made a lot of money together. Particularly, Jake Hager has made a lot of money thanks to Chris Jericho, but as far as he's concerned, they got to cut ties tonight. If that be the case, that's okay, because everyone knows that we have a lot of options. And of course, he's giving that nod to Dutch Mantel, Zeb Coulter, which, by the way, I love the story time with Dutch Mantel podcast. I usually go out of my way just to take it in clips from the YouTube channel. I forget the name of his co-host. I actually like the co-host. He does a pretty good job, especially because there's times where Dutch Mantel, he'll be given a topic and he'll go just a little bit, not in a Ric Flair. It's not as bad as Ric Flair, when Ric Flair is just all over the place. But Dutch will go a little bit off the trail, and that co-host of Dutch's does a phenomenal job and respectfully does a phenomenal job in reeling him back in, making sure that he stays on topic. And if Dutch is off on something, usually he is so prepared that he's already got the notes ready to go, or he's willing to research it right there on the spot as Dutch is talking and everything. I like that. That is the sign of a really good co-host that cares deeply about their product, because you should be willing to go above and beyond to never assume. You always want to make sure that your listeners are getting the right information as you're talking and dealing with whatever in that moment, and you want to have the most up-to-date info as possible. That's the way to do it. Sometimes you got to go above and beyond. So I like that little nod and everything of Jake, essentially. And I would imagine that the very next time Dutch and his boy get ready to sit down and do their show, I would imagine some of the fan mail that's going to come their way. Hey, we saw Jake give a little bit of a nod to you on this week's Dynamite. Have you had any conversations with Tony Khan? Have you had any conversations with Jake Hager? Would you be interested in doing something with Jake? Would you be interested in reuniting with him? Potentially even doing something with Claudio Castagnoli again? Would you be up for it? What would it take to get you to? I'm very curious what Dutch's answer would be. I know off and on in the past couple of months, Dutch has pretty much said, nah, I'm not interested in traveling anymore. I'm just fine. But I can't help but wonder, really though, Dutch, if it's a situation where you've only got to come in once a week and you're pretty much just used as a on-screen character and everything, and you've got the rest of the time to yourself, are you really sure that you wouldn't be up for it even if the money was just right? I'm very curious what his response would be to that, because obviously with AEW not doing any house shows, it's just pretty much Collision, Dynamite, and Rampage. As we know, these days Rampage is typically taped the same day as Dynamite, and then the Collision show itself, that's usually live, and on that Collision show usually that time is taken to also film for ROH. So really Dutch Mantel would only be needed for one episode. Would he be up for it? It's a really good question, because, honestly, in a perfect world, man, that would be badass to see Dutch Mantel and Jake Hager reunite again. And I don't care what anybody says, but I actually didn't mind it when Claudio Castagnoli had gotten involved, and the two of them were running around kicking ass while Dutch Mantel was throwing the audibles out there and everything. So a little bit of food for thought right there. But Hager talked about how he liked the hat, but he does not appreciate Jericho. He pretty much stormed off. Jericho talks about before things get out of control, they've got to agree that their careers are bigger, better than now than before. That basically everybody that's part of the Jericho Appreciation Society, pretty much in a nice way of putting it without being totally a dick about it, Jericho essentially saying to all these guys and girls, look, y'all wasn't nothing before I came into the picture. I pretty much was able to pluck you from obscurity, and look at where you are now. Your careers would be nowhere as good as it is right now if it wasn't for me coming into your life when I did. That's pretty much what he was saying to these guys in a nutshell. Really, when you read in between the lines, that's what was going down. Tay Mello responded to this, talking about how she used to be proud to be in the group with Jericho, but no more. Right now, she's feeling sick. And no, it's not because of the fact that she is pregnant and she's a couple of months along here and everything. I got to give Tay a lot of props. I know she took a little bit of backlash the last time we saw her because she was showing off her belly bump, and there was a lot of people that did not want to see her belly bump. I personally did not have a problem with it whatsoever. Okay, I mean, some people can go, the poor choice of the attire. And for me personally, I had no problem with what Tay Mello was wearing, because I've seen more outrageous attires worn by pregnant women. I mean, hello, look at what Rihanna was wearing the first rodeo when she was pregnant and everything. I mean, if you forgot about that, you might want to go on Google or Bing search and refresh your memory. We've seen some, to my point, over the years, we've seen some outrageous attires by celebrities that's pregnant. What Tay Mello had wore last week didn't bother me whatsoever. I appreciated her trying to cover up because maybe she heard a little bit of the flack. Maybe she read up a little bit on it, and maybe this was her way of, or hell, maybe this was honestly, that's just what she felt like wearing for this week. It is what it is. But in either case, she continued to go at Jericho, saying that it seems like Jericho can't make a decision, so she will. She's gonna have her baby, and come next year when she has successfully been able to give birth and everything, she is hoping to become a women's champion without Chris Jericho, or his help for that matter, because she quits. So she quit right there on the spot, walked away from Chris Jericho. This now brings us to Anna Jay, who had a match, a main event match against Shida for the AEW Women's Championship on tonight's Dynamite. Anna Jay tells Jericho that he has helped them all out a little bit, but let's be honest, he's really helped himself a lot more than any of them combined. And that tonight she feels like being selfish, and that she had to learn from the best. And as a result, tonight she declared she was going to go win the title, and that it's all about not appreciating Jericho in order to make it happen. So she walks away. So that's it for the ladies. The ladies have respectfully made their exit. This now leaves 2.0. We know the backstory in regards to Jericho and 2.0 and everything, and Inner Circle, all of that. So Angelo Parker kicks things off and talks about how he doesn't want to be doing what's going down right now, and that he loves being a sports entertainer. When Jericho asked him to join the Appreciation Society, he took it, wore it as a badge of honor. For him, as far as he was concerned, Chris Jericho gave him an identity. And that with the blood, sweat that he put into it, always going to bat for Jericho and everything, he feels as though he's given Jericho everything that he can give, everything that he could muster up. But what has Jericho given him in return? A big fat zero, as pretty much Parker makes his exit. This now leaves Menard and Sammy. Menard, and I thought it was, as I'm hearing this from Menard, because Menard talks about how when he was a kid, one of the first posters that he ever got with his allowance money or whatever was of Chris Jericho. And so I'm going, okay, Jericho should be 52, going on 53. Menard's what, 40? And I had to do the research. Yeah, Menard is 40. Okay, because I know Menard's a couple of years younger than me. So I'm going, okay, so Menard's 40. So I'm just kind of picturing this in my head, and I'm going, well, okay, you rewind it back. Okay, because if we're talking 40 and Jericho, so like essentially almost a 13-year difference. Okay, yeah, I can kind of see this from Menard growing up on Jericho. Okay, yeah, sure. I can see this going down. Talked about how when he was out of a job, it was Jericho that had befriended him, reached out to him, brought him on to the Jericho podcast, and as we all know, the rest is pretty much history and everything. It's one of those finer times in AEW that I can recall, by the way, back when AEW was really all about great character. What's the right words that I'm looking for? It was all about, back then, emotional context as far as character connection to the viewers go. Remember that period? I'm talking about the early phases, and just how they were doing so much really cool stuff back in the day to really try to help you connect with the wrestlers outside of the ring particularly. And I like that period of time where Jericho was essentially using his show to really help you understand more of some of the AEW originals, if you will, and everything. So going on here, Matt Menard, appreciative of everything that Chris Jericho has done for him over the past 18 months, as it's been nothing but a dream for him, and that it's never set right with him why guys he came up with, such as Eddie Kingston, Kevin Steen, aka Kevin Owens, hated Chris Jericho's guts, but now he understands why. And on that note, Matt Menard makes his exit. So all these people have walked away. This pretty much leaves Sammy Guevara, Jericho getting ready to say something when Sammy just slaps the microphone out of his hands, tells him to just listen for a bit, and mentioned how Sammy went from challenging for the world title to fighting another one of Jericho's battles. He put Sting through a table, not because he wanted to, but because he was being loyal. Deep down, he did all this because he thought Jericho would do, what everything that they're hoping they're doing for Jericho. When it came to their time in need, Jericho would be reciprocal. Well, that wasn't the case whatsoever. So Sammy tells Jericho that he's got a lot to work on, Jericho that is, and that when he does, if he does, maybe Sammy will be there for him and they can pick up right where they left off possibly. So this wasn't Sammy, because Sammy did say outright, he said, I'm not going to walk away from you. I'm not going to quit you. You know, but at the same time, it's one of those situations where you got a lot of baggage that's on your hands. You got a lot that you need to sort out. Go do you. Take care of you. Once you figure everything out, hey, you can come holler at me. I may not be able to, right? We might not be able to kick it like old times, but you could try me, right? So I kind of like how that was, you know. Seeing all of that go down, by the way, it almost kind of reminded me of one of my favorite Daryl Hall and John Oates songs. Shout out if you're a big Hall and Oates fan. But it's a song from their, I think it came out in 1996, Marigold Sky. That's the name of the album. And there's a song titled Hold On To Yourself. And the lyrics to that is pretty badass. I would encourage you guys to go out of your way and check out the song, because basically it talks about how, you know, hey, when there's some bad stuff that's going on in your life, you're at some type of a crossroads, you know, the best thing that you can do is pretty much hold on to yourself, because no one else will. So do what you got to do to hold on to yourself, right? So it's a really cool song. I would definitely encourage you guys to go check it out. I can picture the lyrics in my song. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what. I'll just read to you guys some of the lyrics, because I really like that song. I usually have that in rotation on my joint here. Hang on here. I'll pull it up for you guys. Let's see here. And I should be able to pull it up with ease after this. Yep, I got it right now. So, you know, it goes off like this. You know you've got to throw your body around. You say there ain't no way to scare you, knock you down. High wire routine is working for you. Ain't nothing there for you to hold on to. High wire so far to the end. So many chances to miss your step. If you stand up, course, all on your own. If you fall down, course again, always alone. Hold on to yourself, because no one else will. And they, repeat that all over again. In the next verse, they go, people gonna watch your every move. You know there's always something there for you to prove. High wire, so far to look down. No one to catch you when you hit the ground. If you stand up, chorus again, all on your own. If you fall down, chorus comes in again, always alone. Hold on to yourself, because no one else will. And it keeps repeating itself, like that basically. So I don't know, just the song just popped in my head as I'm seeing all of this go down, where essentially the former members of the Jericho Appreciation Society are telling Jericho, go at it alone. Succeed, fail, you're on your own now. It's all on you. So we saw how Jericho here, one interesting thing about this, we never got a chance to find out, and I don't think we ever will know. And I'm a little bit surprised that Tony Khan and them went in this direction and everything, but it would have been nice to know what Jericho was going to do right here. It would have been nice to know if Jericho was going to say to them, hey guys, look, I know that the past couple of weeks I've touched some serious nerves and I've rattled you guys, and man, I know that I've done some selfish, egotistical things to benefit myself as of late. I haven't really been a good team player. I haven't been a good moral compass for support and really embracing you all and you all's endeavors that you're trying to partake in. It's always about fighting my battles, and we never will really know what Jericho were we gonna get here tonight, but I would just like to believe that there might have been that Jericho that had that self-revelation, and he was going to, because you got to admit, for those of you that have watched Dynamite tonight, we got a Jericho when we followed up after a commercial break backstage. Jericho looked legit hurt. Not conflicted anymore. Now he looks sincerely hurt. Almost in a way where that wasn't what he was expecting. Maybe because he actually was going to try to put that fire out, but the damage was just too much. So now we see Chris Jericho telling Don Callis, hey, decision's been made. I'm definitely in on where you and me left off, Don Callis. Let's go ahead and let's have a big press joint. Do a nice full little celebration. We'll get it popping next week. So we're officially going to see this. I have a feeling this is really going to backfire, though, on Chris Jericho. This is going to backfire in such a huge way. It's not even going to be funny. Let me know what you guys think about that one. Meanwhile, the Hardy... When do we stop calling them boys? I'm just going to call them the Hardys. I'll leave that up to you. But the Hardys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, going up against the Bucks. Can't keep calling them the Young Bucks because how much longer are we going to call them, right? I mean, seriously. So this one right here, 11 minutes and some change. This match went on just a little bit too long for my personal taste. Nice back and forth. It's sad because it was like a no-brainer that the Bucks were going to win this, right? I mean, if you had watched Collision, you saw FTR come out there, challenge the Bucks because they want to get that third encounter. And they're challenging them to All In for the AEW tag titles and everything. So keeping that in the back of your mind. And look, we want to see great things happen for the Hardys this last rodeo, because honestly, you just feel as though once their AEW contracts are up, ain't going to be no renewal. As far as in-ring talent goes, they're probably just, if anything, they're going to help out in the back. Me personally, for selfish reasons, I would love to see them go back to the WWE. I would love to see them get one last run as tag champions. I would love to see Jeff Hardy get a redemption arc as a world heavyweight champion, and then they go into the Hall of Fame and everything. But that's asking a lot, isn't it? That is sincerely asking a lot, and I would just be delusional if I were to sit here and say to you guys, all that is definitely going to happen. But you just knew that from watching Collision and what went down with FTR issuing out the challenge, you just knew that Bucks were going to go over here in this one. This was a fun match, but you're really left wondering, okay, well, this is great for the Bucks because this basically intensifies their program with FTR, but where exactly are we going here with the Bucks? Because it's just felt like they've been in this, I wouldn't even say a purgatory status. It's just felt as though Bucks have, or it just felt as though Hardys have been, well, what do we do with these guys? Not really sure just yet, but we'll eventually get there. I mean, we got some options. Don't really know just yet. I haven't really seen a really well thought out plan of, okay, this is what we're going to do with the Hardys. I can't help but wonder if, maybe the Hardys just might be more suitable for the ROH paywall. That's great that you got access to them and you want to show them off on your AEW programming, but I just can't help but wonder at this point. And I know there are probably going to be a decent amount of people that's going to scream at that idea, because that means you would have to pay to see Hardys. But I just can't help but wonder if Tony Khan and them got this all wrong and everything. Now, just to show you guys that maybe I am on the right pattern here, maybe I'm on the right path here, we go to later on in the night and we see how the MJF Adam Cole segment had went down, which I thought was hilarious. Before they had appeared, we got this little vignette of them playing dodgeball with kids, and MJF is just messing the hell up out of the kids left and right. I mean, he's hitting one kid in the face. He's talking trash as well. He gets one kid with the dodgeball upside the head. I mean, it is just some of the best. Yeah, at first I thought, okay, this is starting to get a little cringe, but then once I see MJF just throwing verbal shots at the kids while he's hitting them, I'm laughing at it hysterically, because I remember when I was growing up, to each its own, but I remember when I was growing up, me and my friends, we were about those kids' ages that MJF was playing dodgeball with, and I can vividly remember the trash talking that me and my friends used to do during our lunch break when we would play dodgeball. Or, if we had, PT, physical therapy, right? Back then we called it PT, physical therapy. And then sometimes it was also just called, gymnasium, some weird thing, right? PP, physical practice, right? It was different little terms that we used back then when we were growing up. But I remember when we were playing dodgeball, I remember it from, my God, age 8 through, I would say, maybe 15, all the trash talking that we would do. And it would get so heated that fights would get ready to erupt. Because when we were taking the freaking dodgeball, that was our opportunity to really let some anger and some other stuff out. They don't call it dodgeball for nothing, right? So if a big old ball hits you in the face, well, your behind just didn't move well enough in time to dodge it and everything. So I loved all of that, which played out and everything, as it set up beautifully MJF Adam Cole segment. Now, this links back to what I just talked about in regards to the Hardys ROH. So stay with me, because I didn't forget about that whatsoever. So we see Adam Cole, MJF, they're out there. And Adam Cole is so excited that him and MJF are going to be fighting one another for the AEW World Title in a couple of weeks at All In and everything. And he gives the impression to MJF that, oh, we're going to do a battle of the mics. We're going to cut promos on each other. And I love that first line that MJF threw out there, talking about how ghostly and powdery looking Adam Cole looks, that Hulk Hogan could have snorted him up back in the day, brother, for what it's worth. I freaking love that line. It was hilarious as I don't know what. But Adam Cole was like, nah, man, I'm not trying to battle on the, no. This isn't the idea that I had in mind. And he talks about how, hey, a little bummed out, didn't win the AEW World Tag Team titles, but that's okay, because there's another set of titles that mean the world to me, that I have a lot of history with as far as the promotion that they're tied to and everything, and that is the ROH World Tag titles. And right there, I gotta admit to you guys, my eyebrow raised big time, because I'm going, oh, wait a minute here now. All right, now you've got my attention, because in the past, yeah, as far as MJF trying to do some stuff for the ROH promotion, maybe help them out, give them a little bit of a rub, right? But this is a new, right? This is a new, okay? So you're looking at this, and obviously one of the last times that Adam Cole held some form of a title, if you will, it was a ROH World Tag Team Championship #1 contender lottery tournament. That goes back to the late 2000s. I want to say 2010, 2011 with Kyle O'Reilly, but when it's all said and done, Adam Cole has never won the ROH World Tag titles. He's done everything else in ROH, though. 3-time ROH World Champion, a one-time television champion, right? He's done all of that. Survival of the fittest from 2014. He's done all of these things, but he's never captured the ROH tag titles. So he proposes that he and MJF team up to take on Aussie Open, as ROH is going to be doing a 0 hour, something like that. Let me see. I believe it was a 0 hour that he was mentioning. So MJF, yeah, because I remember MJF saying, so wait a minute, you want me to go at it twice in one night in front of the Wembley crowd? So yeah, 0 hour. MJF not really a fan of that, but trying to rise to the occasion for his buddy and saying, okay, you know what, sure, what the hell, Aussie Open, here's the challenge to you guys. And I gotta say, I like that idea. I don't see any backstabbing going on in that. Safe to assume that match is definitely going to happen unless something different transpires otherwise. But I have no problem seeing that go down, because man, that would be a more interesting story arc, I feel, right? Not to mention, you're giving an incentive for why people need to check out what is it, 0 hour? I feel as though it's not 0 hour. I feel like maybe it's a ROH pay-per-view. If you guys can bear with me a second, let me type in ROH 2000. Let me look up the pay-per-views that's coming up here for ROH, and I'll be able to tell you guys. But I remember hearing 0 hour, and I was like, huh, okay, interesting. All right, so I'm already there. No, so I did hear it right, 0 hour, because I'm looking at what's supposed to be coming up for ROH. I'm not seeing anything for the rest of this calendar year, let alone this month in August. So I did hear that right. So it's a smart move when you really stop and think about it, because one, you're enticing people to check out the 0 hour, try to get those last couple of pay-per-view buy-in subscriptions and all that other good stuff. And then just the idea that Adam Cole and MJF could possibly win the ROH tag titles. That is really awesome, because it goes back to what I was just talking about earlier, which is, look, you got to start doing some premium exclusives for ROH. If you're trying to do whatever you can to boost subscriptions to ROH, sometimes you got to do unpopular moves, and one of those unpopular moves is, okay, well, who's some really cool exclusive talent that we can take and we can just have them be exclusively behind. And look, I'm not saying you can never see them on AEW television, but at the same time, those people that are paying those ROH subscriptions, they definitely have the priority, and you need to make sure that, say for example, out of 3 months, right? Out of 3 months. So when you really break that down, we're talking 4, 8, 12. 12 Dynamite shows. Or you could say 12 Rampage shows, or 12 Collision shows. As far as your ROH talent goes, from those 12 free shows, you honestly should be having your ROH talent appear 2, 3 max. Everything else has to be behind the paywall. That's just my philosophy. A lot of you guys may not agree with that, but that's just how I'm looking at it. I love how Roderick Strong had came out there still pushing the neck brace, just fidgety as ever. No. He is playing this role so well. I am loving it. He is reminding me so much of Cameron Diaz, Tom Cruise in Vanilla Sky. The emotional scene where she's saying to Tom Cruise's character, I swallowed your that means something. Do you not understand? I swallowed your that means something. Okay? And I'm just looking at that whole scene with Roderick Strong, and I'm just looking at Adam Cole. I'm going, Adam, whatever you do, dog, don't accept a ride from Roderick Strong, because man, that might be the last ride you ever have in your entire life. Because, man, you're going to get so messed up. Britt ain't gonna be able to fix you on that one, right? So love how all of that is playing down. You can't help but wonder how much of a factor Roderick Strong could potentially play, and not just that tag titles match, but also the World Heavyweight Championship match between those guys. How much the Kingdom, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, Maria Kanellis, may get involved in all of that. So definitely something to have in the back of your head when it's all said and done. Some pretty good stuff, though. Hey, if you guys been enjoying yourselves so far, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, only takes a second. Hit the like button when you do that. You help supercharge content such as this. Really helps put more eyeballs on the content. Get us more support as well. So do that, and thanks in advance. Not too much more to talk about from tonight's AEW Dynamite. FTW Championship, RVD taking on Jack Perry. I have not seen RVD in a couple of years, and I was trying to get confirmation because I was watching the show with a couple of people, just hanging out, chatting in the Discord, and I had asked, I said, hey, when was the last time RVD was at Impact? Because I know a couple of years back he was on Impact Wrestling on a regular basis with his girlfriend / wife. And because I remember saying, whatever that last time was, I haven't seen RVD since then, you know, and it kind of felt like maybe I hadn't seen RVD in about 2 to maybe 3 years. So I was most curious to see where the 52, 53-year-old is physically right here and everything. Because I sadly, if he's doing stuff on the independents, one, I don't know anything about it. I'm not seeing the footage and all that other stuff. So, you know, unfortunately, that's what's going on. So I was curious to see what was going to be happening with RVD in this one. And yeah, has he slowed down a bit? Yes, for sure. But my man can definitely still go. I don't know if this was a one-shot deal. If it was, look, I'm all fine for it. I'm totally all fine for it. I feel at this point RVD should just be, you know, honestly, my best advice to Tony Khan and crew right now, you're struggling as it is to manage the Hardy Boyz, right? You know, I'm talking about, like, really think about the nostalgia acts right now. Kind of struggling a bit with the Hardys, struggling slightly with Samoa Joe, slightly struggling, insert. My whole thing is, if you are able to work something out with Rob Van Dam, I say make him priority number one for your ROH subscription. I say utilize the hell out of RVD from that standpoint, okay? That would definitely catch a little bit of momentum online. That would catch a little bit of fire online. Whoa. RVD's doing what in ROH? He's mixing it up with who? I mean, if you just roll out, hey, RVD's doing these really great matches in ROH, yo, you gotta get a subscription to ROH just to see the RVD matches alone. Now, some of you guys, again, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I always keep it real with you all. Has he slowed down a little bit? Yes, he's definitely slowed down a little bit. I know most people are not going to be fans of a RVD return on a regular or part-time basis or whatever. And if you want to look at what went down on AEW as a one-time deal, and you're keeping your fingers crossed that hopefully it's a one-time deal, as a wrestling fan, as a RVD fan, I'm hoping that him in the AEW universe was just a one-time deal, and that if something were to maybe happen again in AEW some months down the road, that again is a one-time deal, sure, I'm all right with that. But if you're trying to do something with RVD on a semi-regular basis, you can't keep loading up AEW with you've got to look at that ROH, and you got to figure out ways that you can continue to monetize it. That's my 2 cents on that from a distance. Let me know what you guys think about that. I would imagine that's gonna ruffle some feathers, as far as, we're putting, like, I hear you, but you gotta admit, I'm on to something. You sometimes you gotta think like that from a business standpoint. Honestly, nice match with Jack Perry. I wasn't a fan of the ending, though. The ending just really rubbed me the wrong way, because it's funny I say rubbed, and RVD got hit in the nuts, basically. So ref gets taken out with a chair. That chair went smacked right into the ref. It knocked him out. Laughed my butt off when I saw that spot go down and everything. RVD, he sees an opportunity to go for the 5-star frog splash. He connects with it and everything, goes for the cover. Ref is still out of it. 1, 2, 3. We should be looking at a new FTW champion, but no. Cue up everyone's favorite ref, Aubrey Edwards, comes on down there, running like Nick Patrick. And 1, 2, Jack Perry is still in it and everything. He ends up sending RVD into a chair propped up in the corner. There was a low blow that happened a little bit right before that. Then sending RVD into the corner, roll up with the tights, 1, 2, 3, and it pretty much goes down like that. And I just kind of looked at that, just shaking my head, going, man, we couldn't have my girl Anna Jay come out there. And to some people's point, hey, not for nothing, but Anna Jay was practicing, training, or whatever. She's getting ready for her women's championship shot against Sheeta. So no, she couldn't really be out there. I just can't help but wonder if ever, are we going to see Jack Perry with his real life girlfriend Anna Jay take up the screen together and just be a 1-2 punch combo. You would have thought we definitely were going to be getting that after the JAS, essentially, because I gotta tell you guys, I know we're jumping ahead, but it was really weird seeing Matt Menard and Angelo Parker come out there with Anna Jay, because it's like, why? It's not really needed anymore. JAS is dead, unless you guys are just saying to yourselves, we're gonna continue on without our lead singer. Okay, it's because, look, this isn't like the Temptations. When David Ruffin started acting up and everything, the way the Temptations was, this was pretty much one of those deals where you could have been like, okay, you know what? So David Ruffin, he wants to act like an asshole. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead, and you want to be laid, and you want to keep doing your drugs and all this other stuff. Okay, that's fine. But just know we still got Otis. Just know we still got Eddie. Okay, we're gonna be all right. We got Dennis Edwards. Don't worry, we're gonna be all right. We'll be just fine, because it's pretty much next man up. Whereas with Chris Jericho, and no, I am not comparing him to, this is just one of those, longtime listeners know I'm a huge fan of Prince. This is like Prince and the Revolution. Jericho is in the role of Prince, and if Jericho decides, okay, I'm out of here, the Revolution, yeah, they can try to continue on without Prince, but it's not quite gonna be the same. So, very confusing what had happened, how that was set up going into that main event match for Anna Jay and Sheeta. That really should have been a case where Anna Jay should have been out there on her own. We should not have seen 2.0 for the rest of the night. I mean, everybody else was able to make their exits, and we didn't see them again for the night because it was all about selling the respected angle and everything. So very, very, very just a little bit dumbfounded by that. But good stuff from RVD. Decent match, great execution. Just wasn't a fan of the finish. That was the only thing that was pretty sour, was the finish to the match, all said and done. Lucha Brothers versus Blackpool Combat Club. Combat Club going over here. Solid match. They should have trimmed it, though. They honestly should have trimmed it. I don't see how anybody could be clamoring and jumping up and down for this match when this was going daggone near 15 minutes long. And it was, I gotta tell you, the crowd for most of the night, but definitely right here, the crowd was out of it. I don't know if the crowd had too many nachos with cheese and jalapenos and all that other good stuff. I don't know what was going on, but the crowd seemed really, really out of it. Maybe they were getting a case of the itis. I don't know. But this match did go a little bit too long for all intents and purposes. Swerve Strickland coming out with his entourage. They're talking up a good storm and everything. Talking about how they beat the living crap out of Nick Wayne and everything. AR Fox doesn't want to waste any time as he demands for Darby Allin to come on now. Darby does come out, and I wasn't really feeling how Darby was coming out there trying to once again explain to us the whole story about how close they were and everything. Wasn't really. I like Prince Nana instigating in between. What's your point? Why are you mentioning all this again? I do appreciate Prince Nana going in that direction, but Darby pretty much telling Swerve Strickland, AR Fox, hey, look, remember, you all obviously got friends in high places. I see the numbers with you guys, but you know what? I've got some friends too. And it's like, oh, okay. Sting pops up. I've never seen so many grown men scatter like roaches before over a 65-year-old man with a baseball bat. Never seen that happen before in all my life. Big man Brian Cage and just everybody disappearing. Everybody disappearing for Sting. Wait a minute, let me put some respect on Sting's name. It's Sting! Let me put some respect on that. So it ends up being Sting pointing a bat at Swerve Strickland's neck and then pointing to the All In sign. And it pretty much being announced in that same segment that apparently it's going to be Sting and Darby Allin in a tag match against Swerve Strickland. And let me see who, I think AR Fox? Let me go back. Yeah, Darby Allin and Sting taking on AR Fox and Swerve Strickland. So that's what's going to be going on there. Something else that we have found out from tonight's Dynamite, there is going to be a tournament that's going to be going down where we're going to see at All In Shida defend the AEW Women's Championship in a fatal four-way. Again, that's going to go down at All In. Now, as far as the participants for that, I had took a screenshot really quick. Here it is. I took a screenshot. So here's how some of the matches are going to be playing out. Obviously, we pretty much had spoiled it for you in regards to Shida being at All In. Remember, she had a title defense tonight against Anna Jay. We'll talk a little bit more about that match in a hot little bit. Coming up on this Friday's Rampage, we're going to see Saraya take on Sky Blue. You heard me right, Saraya. We haven't seen her in a singles match in a good minute. She is going to be in action against the beautiful, the lovely Sky Blue. There was ever a time where I'm going, oh, Saraya. Right? I'm going, great. We're seeing you make a comeback. I'm actually hoping that Sky Blue goes over in this one. Because if you're keeping track at home, one of the last times that we saw Saraya in a match, if you want to break it down as far as a match in general, okay, sure. You got to go as far back as March 31st of this year. It was a mixed tag match on Dynamite when Adam Cole and Britt Baker took on Chris Jericho and Saraya. Before that, as far as a singles match goes, you got to go back to March 3rd of this year. She took on Willow Nightingale, and that was on an episode of AEW Dynamite. So it's been a good minute to my whole point. So I'm looking at this. I can't help but wonder how much rust, if any, Saraya is going to have against Sky Blue there. You know, Saraya, obviously the in-ring veteran. I think they're going to do just fine. But regardless, that match is going to be on Rampage. And then next week on Dynamite, the Bunny apparently is supposed to be facing Britt Baker. Y'all heard me right, and I find that to be very surprising because, there was one report that talked about how the Bunny had been backstage at recent AEW tapings and everything, and but there was no word being put out there on when exactly she was going to be coming back to in-ring action. But supposedly, Bunny is going to be back next week. I have the screenshot because I saw when they put up the graphic and everything. And the funny thing is, it doesn't even look like the Bunny. It does not even look like the Bunny. I'm going to actually see if I can blow this up for you guys. This looks like a weird crossbreed between Tay Mello and Chelsea Green. This does not look like the Bunny. I mean, look at this here. Tell me that looks like the Bunny. Seriously, that does not look like the Bunny whatsoever. But they're saying it's the Bunny, so you're gonna have that match on next week's Dynamite. So basically, by weekend's end, we're gonna know who are going to be the other participants. Now, some of you guys, you may be hearing this and you're going, well, wait a minute, Lee. You just mentioned we're missing a third participant there out of that four. Who's the third woman? Toni Storm fills up the other slot. So she initiated her rematch clause. So as a result of that, she automatically gets a bye going into All In. So that's what's going to be going down there. By the way, love the new development that's going on character-wise with Toni Storm. Good stuff right there. I'm loving it. I gotta say that surprised the hell out of me. I did not know she was capable of putting out some really solid promo stuff, some good character development stuff. I want to see more. So good stuff right there. AEW World's Women's Championship match, or Women's World Championship match. Anna Jay taking on the champion Shida. Shida going over. Anna still has a lot of work ahead of her, especially as far as making sure everything looks not just fluid. There's got to be great fluidity, in all of her moves. You don't want your stuff looking all jagged and everything. And then you also want to make sure your stuff is actually looking like it's connecting, okay? But she's coming along. I'll give her that. She's coming along. Shida definitely made Anna Jay look pretty good. I don't know what was going on with the finish to this match, though. It was really, really weird because we see Shida connect with the Falcon Arrow. Somehow, our girl kicks out, so Shida decides, okay, you know what? I'm going to do the katana then. Since you're going to kick out of the Falcon Arrow, I'll get you with the katana. That connects. Parker, I don't know what was going on. I rewinded it a couple of times. I'm not sure if he was trying to hand Anna Jay something, like if he was trying to put something in her hand, or if he was trying to shake her, or if he was trying to grab her and maybe pull her out of the ring. There was so much that was going on there. It was really, really weird. Shout out to Taz, who was on commentating with the team tonight, with I think Tony Schiavone and Excalibur. He tried to do his best to, wait, what was going on there? He tried to clean it up, but it was really, really weird. Just weird. A little bit spotty here and there. Sheeta did her very best to make Anna Jay look pretty good, but you know, should this have been in the main event spot? Was this worthy of being in a main event spot? No, it wasn't. No, it was not. So when it's all said and done, the first hour, you honestly could have just fast forwarded. If you got this on your DVR, I'm giving you the heads up right now. Honestly, you can just fast forward, because it was so funny, because I remember when it was time to go into the second hour, I couldn't help but go, well, wait a minute. Damn, you mean this was only the first hour? Because it felt pretty slow, very dragging and everything, with some of the stuff that went down during the first hour and all of that. I thought the RVD match was just fine. I would imagine some people, though, especially those that don't appreciate the TNA stench, you know, hey man, keep RVD away from. I can hear that, but the second hour definitely went over a bit better, and that's despite the fact that Lucha Brothers and the Combat Club went a little bit too long-winded. MJF Cole segment with Roderick Strong, definitely awesome. Seeing little kids get decked out. Seeing little kids get decked out by dodgeballs left and right, freaking hilarious. So main event. You felt like you were honestly watching a Rampage main event for all intents and purposes. So, got some interesting Women of Wrestling news. We were teasing that on the Monday show, and I told you guys I would get into that a bit more on the Wednesday show and everything. And in a post on Instagram stories, AJ Mendez, AJ Lee, she revealed that her contract with Women of Wrestling will expire at the end of the current season. She originally joined the show for commentary and as a backstage role, as you all remember, back in 2021. So, you know, I know, because I'm following a decent amount of the Women of Wrestling wrestlers on social media. I'm trying to figure out whose post it was that mentioned it, but one of the girls had mentioned, and that's a wrap for the new season, because they're supposed to be getting ready to film. I don't know if it's later this month. If you guys can actually bear with me, I can actually confirm and find out for you guys and everything. But yeah, because I'm actually on the site now. Hang on here. I'm actually on the site now. Yeah, there's supposed to be tickets available at the Belasco Theater in Los Angeles, California. Looks like it. Yeah, it looks like they began on August 2nd. So I'm thinking these shows that they're doing in August is to film for the upcoming new season. So they began on August 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th. Looks like the next batch of tickets they've got available is for the 17th, 18th, and 19th. And let me share with you guys some of these you all might be interested in. So for the August 17th, tickets are available for $40 a head. This is general admission. General admission superhero fans may be admitted into the venue starting at 5:30 p.m. On the 18th, they have general admission tickets available again. For VIP seats, those are sold out. For the August 19th show, general admission is available. Same time, same price, $40 per head. Now, for the VIP, August 19th, it is available. We're talking $225. Looks like, let's click on that for more info. Here you go. So you get one WOW reserved ringside ticket. You get an awesome meet and greet with select WOW superheroes. Memorable individual photo opportunity with select WOW superheroes. You get VIP priority check-in and access to separate VIP entrance with entry to the private themed WOW VIP hospitality room. One limited edition WOW t-shirt. Hospitality also includes complimentary soft drinks and snacks selections. One commemorative WOW VIP laminate and matching Lannard. That's actually pretty good. That almost kind of reminds me of Soundgarden. When I went to see Soundgarden many years ago at the Patriot Center down in Virginia. This would have been around 2011, 2012-ish. And I pretty much had got all of these, except for a chair, but I pretty much was able to be in the front row. I was like in the first 3 rows from the band on the stage, right? First 3 rows, boom, I was right there. And it was freaking awesome. But I got all of that. I got the complimentary drinks. Now, alcohol was available, but I had to purchase alcohol. And basically, there was the way they had it set up, they would only take cash. I don't think they had the, here, you can just pay with your phone. As far as I remember, they didn't have that just yet. But you could definitely pay with cash, because I remember they had a register. I do remember that. There was a register that we could go to and get our booze that way and everything. So this honestly sounds pretty good, pretty cool. And the fact that they're making it be, so intimate, giving you an opportunity to, right? Almost kind of reminds you of how TNA was doing it back in the day, Dixie Carter and all of them. So might be something you guys want to look into and everything. So, but yeah, AJ had shared a message on Instagram saying, and I quote, "As my season-long contract with WOW Superheroes winds down," a little tongue twisted there, I apologize, "I want to thank the ladies for welcoming me into their locker room, our hair and makeup talk sessions, and constantly inspiring me with their hard work, talent, and genuine camaraderie. I'll try to come back and play sometime in the future. I hope all you fans keep watching next season to support these incredible athletes and stars of tomorrow." So, she kept it short and sweet. I like the fact that she also took the time out to say, hey, look, I might be leaving, but continue to support this promotion and everything. And, it sucks. It sucks to hear that and everything, because anybody that's been checking out the shows, we had a series earlier in the year where we were fortunate enough to interview a decent amount of the girls off WOW Women of Wrestling, to the point we actually have somebody, we're trying to iron it out, but we have somebody we think we're going to be talking to next week, and I may be getting an assist as far as a co-host goes for conducting that little get-together. I'll keep you guys posted on that one. But I remember when I was interviewing a lot of the girls from Women of Wrestling, and whenever I would bring up AJ, their ears, and a lot of the times, you all know, you would see their faces, their eyes, and it would light up, smile would get really, really big, and they would have nothing but good things to say about AJ. And sure, you can say, oh well, they got to, because, but no, you could legit tell who is being sincere about it, and who is just maybe putting on the front just to be nice. And all the girls that we asked that question to, everybody was saying the same thing, which was, nah, she's definitely a great help, and she's awesome. And yes, is it, when it's all said and done, Selena Majors, is she the main one that's really getting down and dirty and helping the women out and all of that good stuff? Yeah, it's definitely her. Way before AJ had came into the picture and everything, she definitely, Selena Majors, was the one that was really the right-hand man of David McLean, getting all the girls, training them and everything. Tessa Blanchard was supposed to be in that position, that same position as well, but as we all know, that respectfully did not work out. So, AJ, and look, here's one thing I can try to do for you guys. I can definitely ask some of the girls off the record, maybe have them go anonymous, and just to clarify and really get right down to it, how instrumental was AJ these past couple of years, and wow, was she more than just a commentary piece, or was she, because unfortunately you've got this narrative that's running around right now where a lot of people are saying, well, she was just a poster child. She didn't really do anything. If anything, it was actually Selena Majors. AJ didn't really do anything, just commentary, and she was okay at commentary. I didn't mind her on commentary. I welcomed her definitely with a breath of fresh air and everything. So I'm actually a little bit behind on a few episodes of Women of Wrestling. I need to catch up. I think at this point I'm about 10 episodes behind. So I would imagine if their season finale hasn't happened yet, their season finale should be getting ready to go down in a couple of weeks and everything. So I will keep you guys posted on that. Can't help but wonder if her husband and Phil, CM Punk, if maybe he's like, hey, so what do you see yourself doing? Are you going to continue to do this? Or, if maybe he's kind of helped her get the Hollywood bug. I know she's featured on the newest season of Heels, which premiered 2 weeks ago. I gotta get caught up. I still have not watched the first season, which I heard was really, really, really good. So I gotta catch up on that. By the way, if you're like me and you're a member of Amazon Prime, then for us Prime customers, the entire first season of Heels is available to watch. Just bend your heart out, back to back to back to back to back. You can watch them all, so have at it. So I'm definitely going to do that. And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with AJ. I know I was mentioning this with Mish. Shout out to Mish from Wrestling Soup about AJ departing from WoW. And he was saying to me how, this is interesting because when the contract does get ready to lapse and everything, this is almost right in time for Survivor Series by WWE. So he couldn't help but, without blatantly saying it, kind of, you fill in the blanks, you can't help but wonder, is it possible? Is she maybe going to go back to WWE? Would Punk actually be okay with that? Or, you just can't help but wonder. But one thing's for certain, it's so interesting when it comes to AJ and Punk, outside of the wrestling business, they do some pretty interesting moves, and you just can't help but go, let's see what happens next here. So, that's a sad blow for AJ rolling out on WoW and everything. And I don't mean to go on and on and on and on and on about it, but you got to forgive me because I was hoping that one of these days through WoW I would get an opportunity to sit down with AJ and just really be able to pick her brain on women's wrestling and all that, because this is a woman that has seen a decent amount of stuff way before she even came in the WWE and everything. But now it's kind of, I won't say never, but working with the good kind people over there at WoW definitely had a pretty a pretty good shot at maybe, maybe it going down and all that, but yeah, not so. Now, something else that could potentially happen, maybe AJ could eventually pop up at Impact, because she recently has shared a post on her Instagram that she recently had bumped into Trinity, aka Naomi. I know she had shared that picture, what was that, a week and a half ago. So you're looking at that, and right, maybe we won't have to wait that long to find out what AJ Mendez's next move is going to be, right? So we'll see. We shall see. Some other stuff we can get into. How about what the hell is going on? Just what a weird episode that was. Dark Side of the Ring, Marty Jannetty. I watched it earlier today, and it was funny because usually Wednesday mornings I get a little bit of a break before I have to begin all day of classes and everything. So usually I'll jumpstart the day, I'll make some breakfast for myself, and I'll catch up on a few things on the DVR, look up some stuff on YouTube and everything. So I had decided to hop on YouTube, and this was a case where, as far as classes, I had to, my day was easy because as far as classes went, let's remember, my fall semester doesn't begin for a couple of more weeks. But I did have to jumpstart the day making sure that I got in contact with certain advisors. Also had to make sure I got in contact to make sure that my vaccination status, like, you guys need anything else? Am I good? Because there was a time where my university was enforcing, you gotta have a COVID test, you got to show that you've gotten the vaccination and all that. And I think since then they've relaxed on it. I guess now that we know a lot more about COVID, and hey, we don't have to be as out as long as we thought we had to be out, and and all this other stuff. So in between, trying to take care of some stuff with the school and everything, and work, I was able to watch this fucked up episode of Dark Side of the Ring with Marty Jannetty, and I just couldn't help but shake my head at this and go, what the heck? Like what just. So you had Brutus the Barber Beefcake, which makes sense because he's a longtime friend of Marty Jannetty. I forgot the name of Brutus the Barber Beefcake's woman, but and boy, was did she have some nice lovelies all hanging out there, did she not? I mean, seriously, she had some nice lovelies that was hanging out all throughout the episode. Matter of fact, because I got to do her justice. I'm sure I can pull up her name within a couple of seconds here. Is it Marissa? Is it Melissa Caruso? I believe it's Melissa Caruso. Hang on here, because I gotta see. Because when she first popped up, I was going, Missy Hyatt? When I first saw her, then it was like, no, that's an insult. Missy Hyatt is much. I guess that was Melissa DeGloria or whatever, Brutus the Barber Beefcake's wife. I don't know. We had Al Snow. Of course, that makes a lot of sense, right? Trying to think who else was on that episode as well. I feel like I'm missing somebody. It'll come back to me when I least expect it, but these were pretty much your main. Oh yeah, Marty Jannetty's best friend. I can't think of her name right now, but man, did she look tore up. Because I remember when I started watching this, my wife is like, what are you watching? I'm like, oh, it's a Dark Side of the Ring episode on Marty Jannetty. And I asked her, I said, do you remember Marty Jannetty? And she goes, I remember a little bit when I would go over my grandpa's house. And I said, yeah. I said, he was in the group called The Rockers with Shawn Michaels before Shawn really got his big break and everything. She's like, yeah, I kind of, so she's sitting there watching it with me and everything. That was one of the strangest, weirdest Dark Side of the Ring episodes I ever came across. And it ended on such an interesting note because you're going, okay, so did he or did he not commit a murder when he was 13 years old? And you would just like to believe that if he did, in fact, commit this murder, all his friends truly believe that, because they've all heard this same story as far back as 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago or whatever, and they're like, yeah, this is true. You would like to believe that if this story is true, that, okay, somebody out there is missing someone. Somebody out there, sincerely, really stop and think about this. You go missing, and you're telling me that no one is going to try to conduct some type of a welfare check? Nobody is going to try to alert the authorities? Really stop and think about that. We are talking about someone, hypothetically, that had worked at a bowling alley and sold, was that what it was? No. Where the accident took place was at a bowling alley. Marty Jannetty had frequented it all the time. There was some guy that he met. Guy was driving in his own vehicle. Someone that Marty, I guess, used to maybe regularly buy weed from or whatever, and this man decides one day he wants to try to cop a feel on Marty. Marty, being very strong, maintaining his position and letting the guy know he don't freaking swing that way, and knocking dude's hand off, tries to run out of the car. This guy chases after him, is on top of him, getting ready to unbutton his pants and pull him down for God knows what. I don't know if it's going to be a scene from Deliverance or what. Marty, hypothetically, supposedly, grabs a rock, hits this guy over the head with it a couple of times. Feels bad for the guy afterwards because now the guy is just laying there, blood coming from out of his head. Doesn't call the cops, doesn't, instead, I guess goes for a family member, I think his brother or whoever. Yeah, we got to leave this guy here, because man, this will ruin you for the rest of your life. So yeah, we can't call this in. Supposedly, hypothetically, you gotta keep saying that, right? Because hypothetically, if this body does exist, if this crime did exist, right, hypothetically, would then take the body and dump it in a river. Local authorities, they're saying that nothing has been found to possibly connect Marty Jannetty to, based off their missing persons database, everything that he mentioned, nothing has come up. So you're hearing all of that, and you would just like to believe that if somebody did go missing, even if they disowned their entire family, okay, surely the place where they're paying rent, but then maybe you can counter that by saying maybe they were living at a hotel, and as long as you are paying that daily rate, that's all that matters, right? Well, surely the person worked. You go missing, surely that's going to, right? So there's a lot of stuff that's in the air, when you hear that, and you're just, okay, either this is just one really sick, bad story that Marty Jannetty has been spinning all these years, or something actually did go down, and Marty is just, I tell you this, if he in fact did do something, this episode alone will be that smoking gun that's going to finally put him behind bars. But, you know, I'm watching this episode, I'm going through the motions of all the opportunities that this man had over the years and trying to get back to good with WWE. I remember that last rodeo when the Rockers had reunited, and I remember watching that episode of Monday Night Raw and going, hot damn, yeah, Marty Jannetty, he still freaking got it. Yeah, the man can still go. And, you know, he did such a fantastic job that he was given a WWE contract. And I remember how I had got so excited for him. Was it a case where, you know, hey, Marty Jannetty, he's going to be, you know, a WWE World Heavyweight Champ? No. But, hey, Marty Jannetty, a tag team champion. Marty Jannetty, maybe a hardcore champion. Marty Jannetty, an intercontinental champion. Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's freaking go. For sure. But I remember right after I had saw him on that Monday Night Raw, reuniting there with the Rockers, I was so ecstatic for the guy. Because remember, it had been X amount of years since he and Sean had reached out to one another, since they talked and everything. And Sean had heard about some of the latest ordeals that Marty was going through, and at this point Sean had found Jesus and everything and decided, okay, you know what, let me try to, you know, help out my former friend here. Let me try to patch up old wounds here and, you know, see if we can, you know, mend the fence while at the same time getting this man the help that he needs and everything. I remember when all of this was going on too, you know, Sean helping Marty, getting him cleaned up, then getting that opportunity to be on Monday Night Raw, what was supposed to honestly just be a one-night deal. This was Marty, this was officially his last shot. This was his last opportunity to, hey man, not only can I still go, but I'm worthy of this redemption arc. So much good that could have came from out of it, and my memory is a little bit rusty, so you'll have to forgive me. You know, you mainly would have to rely on my colleagues and Jim Cornette, Brian Lass, and Solomonster, you know, because I know besides them doing research, they got sharper memories than I do. I admit I'm getting up there in age, in the head. You know, my mind's not as good as it used to be, as a lot of things are spotty. But if I remember right, Marty Jannetty was supposed to be exclusive to the SmackDown brand. And man, I tell you what, once that arrest had went down, I think Marty, I'm trying to think how long Marty had made it. I think Marty only made it, I think truly Marty only made it like one freaking week or whatever, because he did the match with the Rockers, with Shawn Michaels. They defeated La Resistance, Robert Conway and Sylvain Grenier. I used to love the hell out of those guys. La Resistance, that was my stable back in the day. I used to love the hell out of those guys. And then Marty Jannetty had popped up later that week. What was it, on SmackDown, I think it was. And he did the Kurt Angle Invitational. He went up against Kurt Angle. And it was like, okay, so how do you follow up on a really great tag match Monday night against La Resistance? You follow it up by taking on Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. And I just remember going, holy mother of Marty Jannetty is back. Okay, this is a really good redemption arc that we got going on here for this guy. And then when the silly crap had went down with him, it was just, yeah, this dude is done. And we pretty much never saw him again after that. You know, and it was sad. It was very, very sad. I remember in the later years, particularly around the time frame that we launched the podcast, I remember in those first 5 years, remember how we had Jake Roberts, Scott Hall, and they were doing the DDD program and everything. And I remember at various points, I was given interview opportunities with all three of those men I just mentioned. And I would bring up Marty Jannetty. I can't remember Scott Hall's response. I want to say, I know for a fact I talked to DDP about Marty. What I can't remember is if it made it on there or if that was off record. I do remember for a fact bringing up in the now infamous Lost interview with Jake Roberts. That's an entirely different story. I'll only go into the Jake Roberts stuff if you guys want me to. You would have to tell me on social media and all that if you want me to go into that again. But the bullet points, I remember from the Jake Roberts interview asking him about Marty Jannetty, and he was very well aware of what all had been going down with Marty. And before I could go any further, he cut me off and he said, look, when it's all said and done, you gotta want it. You gotta want help. And until you can get to that place where you want the help, then, you know, it's just going to continue to be a downward spiral and all that, you know. And it was kind of like, okay. So it was very sad covering Marty Jannetty during that time period. And then just all the stuff that has popped up with this guy saying the most craziest, obnoxious WTF things on social media. Yeah, I put out a sad tweet in regards to this episode, and I want to read it to you guys because this was pretty much my mindset after I had got done watching this episode, and I pretty much was minutes removed from it and everything. And I said, and I quote, let's see where. Watch Dark Side of the Ring on Marty Jannetty. I used to always have hope for Marty and that he would eventually clean up, but threw the towel. Missing person, I don't know. This episode may have done more good to help investigators go back and research all the people we lost, and Marty is still around. I mean, you really just gotta let that sink in, because here is a guy that has continued to cheat death over and over and over and over again. You know, and meanwhile, some of our favorites that have done their very best to clean up their act, and I mean, they're just going out on the most craziest. You know, also, you know, what was most saddest about this whole thing? 63-year-old Marty Jannetty, and hearing from Al Snow how this guy is still going out there trying to do these wrestling matches on this messed up ankle that's never going to heal properly, right? Just, yeah. You're looking at that, you know, I'm seeing that and I'm going, this dude is crazy, because this man is eventually going to have this thing get amputated. You're surprised that it hasn't got amputated yet. Seriously. Just crazy. I mean, this, I hope he got his asking price for this episode. I really hope he got his asking price. But you're looking at this episode, I would recommend, if you're going to watch this episode, you got to look at it with your head tilted. Because a lot of the stuff that's being put out there, you just got to look at it half truth, half a lie, right? You have to ultimately decide what you're going to walk away from and go, okay, I'll believe that. No, that right there, that's straight up, right? You gotta go about it that way. How about this stuff that's going on with Jamie Foxx, by the way? So if you guys had missed this, Jamie Foxx had basically put out a post on social media, and he, was talking about, and I read it, and I was like, okay, I know what's going on here. I know exactly what he means. I get the brother. And all of a sudden, you got Jennifer Aniston, and she should definitely be facing some form of backlash herself, because let me set this up properly for those of you, that had missed it. So obviously, Jamie Foxx is recovering since he was hospitalized weeks back for some type of a unspecified medical emergency back in April and everything, right? But then Fox had, he posted this thing on social media where he wrote, "They killed this dude named Jesus. What do you think they'll do to you? Hashtag fake friends, hashtag fake love." Soon as I read that, I knew exactly what he was talking about. Okay, we're talking about, to quote one of my favorite OJ songs, not OJ Simpson, the OJs, right? Backstabbers. I'm going, okay, he is talking about somebody that he had considered to be a dear and near friend, and they ended up stabbing him in the back. Okay, all right, gotcha. So somehow in a Instagram post or whatever, A Wider Frame, which is a newsletter that focuses on issues affecting the Jewish community, on their Instagram, they described Fox's post as a horrifically anti-Semitic message to his 16.7 million followers. Jamie Foxx is the one with the 16.7 million followers. On its Instagram story, A Wider Frame posted a message that seemed to explain its criticism of Fox's post, that it was echoing an anti-Semitic trope that insists that Jews are collectively responsible for the killing of Jesus. This was not even what Jamie Foxx was talking about. He wasn't even talking about the Jewish people. You had a lot of people that came to this man's defense, as one person had put it, any black person growing up in the South will tell you that Jamie Foxx wasn't referring to Jewish people. The social, they killed / lied on, talked about Jesus, simply means if Jesus can be betrayed, so can you. He generally meant fake friends, fake people, so quick to reach, it's ridiculous. That's what one person had said. Another person had said, Jamie Foxx is a decent person, so of course he apologized for potentially offending folks, which honestly, for the record, I don't believe he should have apologized. He had nothing to apologize for. He knew exactly what he was saying, what it was in reference to. I think, if anything, that cool little feature where you can go in and you can edit your tweet as soon as you put it out there. I have a golden rule. I've been saying it for years, and longtime listeners know this. If after I'm done typing up something, I take a moment, I reread it. If there's even 1 second of a hesitation for me posting that message on social media, I'm either not going to post it, or I'm going to, clarify more, let's clean that up. Let's really make sure that your words are not taken out of context and it can't be misconstrued. One person said, Jamie Foxx is a decent person, so of course he apologized for potentially offending folks, but it definitely got misconstrued in the most oblivious way possible Like, was the fake friends hashtag only visible for some folks? And again, he apologized, Jamie Foxx, saying, "I want to apologize to the Jewish community and everyone who was offended by my posts. I know now, I now know my choice of words have caused offense, and I'm sorry. That was never my intent. To clarify, I was betrayed by a fake friend, and that's what I meant with they, not anything more. I only have love in my heart for everyone. I love and support the Jewish community. My deepest apologies to anyone who was offended. Nothing but love always." And so you got Jennifer Aniston's, her ass, right? Never did like that Friends TV show. And then to hear all these years later, they basically were spoofing off of Living Single. Oh, shame, 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 shame. Jennifer Aniston, it appeared that, at least by a screenshot shared by A Wider Frame, it appeared that Aniston, or someone using Jennifer Aniston's account on Instagram, had liked Fox's original post while saying, "This really makes me sick. I did not like this post on purpose or by accident, and more importantly, I want to be clear to my friends and anyone hurt by this showing up in their feeds. I do not support any form of anti-Semitism, and I truly don't tolerate hate of any kind, period." So after that, Aniston had turned off the comment function for all of her Instagram posts. I would imagine this essentially had blew up in her face, because it's one of those, I'm seeing this go down with Jamie Foxx. And one of the first things that had clicked in my head is, well, wait a minute. Let's not try to say that Jamie Foxx is racist or he's got something particular against, white people or Asian people or Mexicans, or, let's not try to go in that respected direction, okay? Because we know that as far as Jamie Foxx goes, he is a equal opportunities provider, okay? It wasn't that freaking long ago that, as far as long-time relationships goes, wasn't he somehow linked? Jamie Foxx said this. Wasn't he somehow linked with Katie Holmes, who at one point was married to Tom Cruise? And we know with that whole, Scientology thing and all that other stuff. But Katie Holmes and Jamie Foxx, they were together for a long time. We're talking about 2013-ish, going all the way up until about 3 years ago. They were in a relationship. The only reason why they couldn't be as full-blown, just all out there about it, is because that's the hold. That's the type of hold that Tom Cruise, right? He was trying to have that be as low-key as possible, right? Because we're talking kids that's involved in the picture and a whole bunch of other stuff. I appreciate and respect the hell out of Katie and Jamie for doing it the way that they were doing it, right? They were trying to be classy about it and everything. But, you're like, wait a minute. Anybody that is willing to date somebody outside of their own race, yeah, I'm not going to be so quick to try to hit them up with anti-Semitism and, oh, they're racist and all this other stuff. As soon as I read what Jamie Foxx had initially put out, I knew exactly what he meant. And the fact that so many mofos were ignoring the hashtags, that just had me scratch my head going, what the hell are we talking about here? How about this? How about, and I've said this many times, we as a society, we allow the first reaction, we indulge in the first reaction that consumes us when we read something that somebody is saying in print and or social media. when we should be taking the time to look at it and try to interpret it a few different ways rather than run off of that first emotion. And then on top of that, we should seek clarification when we feel that, wait a minute, what I'm reading here, there's many ways that this can be taken, need clarity. Can we see if this person can really double down on what they're talking about here? You know, not to get biblical, but John 15:20 says, remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. You know, and when you read more about, you know, the Bible and everything, you know, ultimately Judas was the one that betrayed Jesus. Okay? You AEW fans, you know, you guys that are always chanting, you know, Jericho's little joint Judas and all that, but when you really sit down and get through the lyrics and all that, you realize, wow, okay. So in the black community particularly, when you are betrayed by someone who you looked at as a friend, your ride or die partner, and all of that, I mean, go to a black church, hang out in a black neighborhood. There is certain lingo, there is certain terminologies that's being put out there, and it's got nothing to do with being racist whatsoever. If you know the lingo, you know the talk and all that, then you get it. But this was just another piss poor example of one of the many cluster of social media. You know, I read that, I chuckled, and I just said, okay, next. I kept it moving along. I just thought that was so freaking stupid. I don't see Jamie Foxx being canceled by Hollywood. I don't see him getting banned by certain countries or amongst certain communities. I don't see nothing going down where, let me tell you something, if Jamie Foxx were to be available to host the next Academy Awards or whatnot, I don't see him being denied because of what all had went down this week. Just fake. You know, just, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, all the stuff that's going on here. But, you know, it was nice to see a lot of people at the same time try to step up to the plate, defend Jamie Foxx, you know exactly where he was coming from and everything. But, you know, my whole message to a lot of you guys out there, again, I've been saying it for years now. If you're going to put something out there on social media and you know exactly what you mean, and you mean no malice behind it, there's no ill intent, freaking own it, stand behind it, and if anything, add an additional post and clarify, leave it up there, because look, deleting it after the fact, it's still out there. It is still freaking out there. So you would just be better off, as soon as you get ready to, you know, put that thing out there, you would just be better off clarifying, double down on your comments, and that's pretty much going to be the end of it and everything. So it's just really sad. Just really sad. Yeah, like I said, there was a couple of people that had came to his defense, and some of the people that had defended him, I can actually go through some of the names here. Hang on here, if it'll pop up, because I got a lot of stuff that's loading up here. Jalen Rose, NBA legend Jalen Rose, your voice of inclusion and equality is unquestioned. Love. That's what Jalen Rose had put out there in response to Jamie Foxx's apology. Winnie Harlow wrote, "I'm so confused. It's so clear what you were saying. When you have to apologize for the truth, your voice is the minority." That's what comedian actor Jay Farrow wrote. Kenya Barris, love you, bro. Waiting on you. It's just bullshit. Seriously. Just absolute. Disgusted. I'm telling you, man, that's why it comes to this social media game, man. That is why more and more you gotta be careful what you put out there, because the society that we're in right now, it's extremely reactionary. That's why a lot of times I just go on ahead and I try to keep it as, all right, I'm talking about this game. All right, I'm talking about this show that's on. Okay, I'm talking about, that way ain't no misconception, right? Can't. But you'd be surprised. Even the most harmless criticism about maybe a movie or this, you'd be surprised how many people get caught up in their own feelings. They make it be about them and not try to understand what they're reading, try to understand what that other person. No, we can't, because it's all about me. That's what it's all about. I'll give you a great example. I remember when the Marvel's trailer had first came out several weeks back. And I said something along the lines of, man, I don't know, this trailer, maybe I need to see a different version, but this first one, it's not really getting to me. It feels like this is just kind of catering to the young girls, to the women. And look, I'm all fine for that. More power to you all. But this just feels like something maybe I need to skip out on and everything. But hey, you other Marvel heads, have a great time. And I remember some people were calling me a sexist, and there was other stuff that was being put out there, and I didn't delete my initial post. I doubled down. I stuck to it, and I said, hey, you're talking to somebody here that actually grew up on the She-Hulk comics, and I love the series. I also love the Miss Marvel series for what it was worth. I thought they did a really good job introducing that new character and everything. Like Black Widow, I said, but hey, this one, it just, maybe I need to see a different trailer, but it's not grabbing me in a way of I need to do whatever I can to watch this movie. Like, no, sorry, it doesn't grab me. And I know a lot of people had read that follow-up, because as soon as I put that out there as well, whatever was starting to build up, you had a bunch of people that went on ahead and, it's like, okay. But again, we as a society, we allow ourselves to interpret first reaction. It's always on first impulse. That's what we allow ourselves. We really got to do a better job of stopping the embrace of that initial impulse, those initial feelings. And wait a minute, can we get you to clarify on this? Can you maybe expand? And look, here's a case right here where Twitter, X, whatever the hell it's being called, here's where you got to give Elon Musk and crew a lot of credit here. Because now, in today's day and age, you've got so many characters. You can write a freaking essay now. These celebrities, bump a 180, 200. You telling me that I have even more characters that's added, or I damn near have unlimited capabilities to write a long post / tweet. I'm going to take advantage of that, and I'm going to make sure that, especially if I don't have to pay for it, bet you about $1, I'm going to exploit the hell out of that, and I'm going to make sure that every single time that I'm putting something out there, make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. Now, if that would have been me in regards to Jamie Foxx and all that, the way that I would have done it, and see, here's the other thing that you got to understand as well. Unfortunately, and you learn this if you study media and all that, you learn this. You've got certain news organizations, right wing, all of that have their own respected agendas. Yeah, nothing is more cooler than a great comeback film moment than seeing this proud black actor come back from a health scare and all that. And look at what all was going on with Jamie Foxx before all of this had went down. We had people that were running around saying that's not the real Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx had died a long time ago. This is basically a clone that we were looking at. And they were basing that off of the fact that he looked extremely lighter than he did before in previous years. Well, gee, I don't know. When maybe you have all these bright lights that's on you at a hospital, because anybody knows that's actually been to a hospital, the lights at a hospital are bright as okay? And on top of that, if you have been through some form of potential malnourishment, or you haven't been outside in the weather for several days, maybe a couple of weeks, you've been in house somewhere, you probably are gonna get a bit lighter. I know for me, when it comes to the summer, and my wife will tell you this, every time I turn around and it comes to the summer, I get darker. I'm actually a little bit more lighter than what you see of me right now. But when it comes to the summer, I get even darker. I almost get to the complexion of, the Hershey's chocolate bar? I almost get just slightly darker than that during the summer. But like all these people, right? So we got these conspiracy theorists that's running around. You also got, certain biased media that's looking for an opportunity to slander somebody the first opportunity, that they get and everything. So, you also got to look at that stuff and consider that as well. That would have been my black behind. I would have just simply put out that OJ's Backstabber song, and everybody would have understood what the heck I meant. They smile in your face all the while. They want to take your place. The Backstabbers, right? I would have put something along those lines out there, kept it moving along. It is what it is, though. Other than that, Rob Van Dam, I meant to mention this earlier. Rob Van Dam, he did talk about his backstage involvement as far as the environment in AEW and all that. He said nothing bad, I'm just trying to think of what I could say about it that would make it different. It's not the big stressful production of WWE. It's definitely not a small little indie show either. It's somewhere in between, but closer to WWE. But when I've done TV for international shows that my fans wouldn't know about, like in the UK or Australia, maybe I would compare it to that as far as like the free air. People are walking around genuinely happy to be there. I don't know how to describe it as being, I can't think of anything like that. Outstanding. Link that back to LaFista. Like I said, maybe she caught AEW and its people on a bad day. Who knows? It almost reminds me of an episode of Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay that I had checked out a couple of days ago on YouTube. It was this messed up episode where 60 miles from Washington, D.C. down in West Virginia, there's this little small inn, and Gordon had visited it, and all the stuff that he had found that was going on there, from the food, which the owner of this little cottage inn or whatever, she's like, oh, the people, they love the food. They rave over it. I eat the food all the time. The frickin' refrigerators are outside. They're outside in this little alleyway up against a wall where all the trash is taken And you already know what's back there. You're going to deal with rats, you're going to deal with roaches, and all that other good stuff, right? And then on top of that, they also put these deep freezers out there. Okay? And as far as how they prepare the food, they're doing everything with microwaves. They're doing everything with like 8 microwaves. Right? Oh, you think that you're getting the freshest fish that was caught that day? Because they say fish caught daily, given to you nice and fresh from the sea. No, they just basically went to Sam's Club or whatever and dump it in the meat freezer, right? A little freezer box, and then pull it out, right? And like, oh, you think you're gonna eat a fresh rotisserie chicken? No. They boil their burgers. They boil their burgers. Can you just imagine ordering a cheeseburger? You're thinking that burger is going to be given to you fresh off the grill, fresh off the skillet. These people are boiling burgers. And then even that, the burgers are boiled, not broiled, not BROILED, boil, like you're boiling some eggs, right? So they make these burgers like 2-3 days ago. And then when it comes to, I don't know if you want to call it reheating or whatever the hell it is, because apparently they bake the burgers per the owner. The owner wants them to bake the burgers. I've never heard that before in my entire life, but let's run with it. Bake the burgers 2-3 days ago. Then that way you got them ready to go for when people are saying, hey, I want a burger. Now you take the burger with the cheese and you put it in a skillet with some water and you're boiling the Gordon Ramsay. Like, what the hell? What's going on, right? And it made me think about LuFisto, because I'm looking at Gordon Ramsay. I'm going, there's LuFisto. LuFisto obviously isn't liking what's going on here at this inn. And I'm looking at the owner of this cottage inn. Well, everything's fine, you know. The people don't complain, and right? Go out of your way to check that out. It is just one of the most weirdest, you know, and you'll be surprised to, well, actually, you probably won't be surprised. There are actually still people that are having horrific experiences at that cottage inn to this day. After Gordon Ramsay had tried to come through there, help those people out. Very weird. Very, 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 very weird. Anyway, that's going to do it. I'm out of here on that note. Far as programming notes go, next edition of the RCWR Show, we'll be dropping an episode for you guys on Monday night, August 14th. 2023, minutes after WWE Raw goes off the air. I can't stress it enough. If you support the content that I do, show the ultimate support in making sure that you're leaving content like this that you're checking out right now a like. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. If I miss comments, it's not intentionally. Sometimes it's a combination of a delay. I won't see a comment for like about 90 seconds, 2 minutes. I don't know why, but that happens to be the case. But if you go out of your way to leave a comment once the content is available for on-demand viewing, I always go out of my way to leave a like and or respond to what you had said and everything. So FYI on that one. But yeah, definitely go out of your way. Support the hell out of the channel. I'm now getting back into the groove of things by uploading clips onto the YouTube channel. Shout out to my boy DJ for his assistance with that. I've been loving the work he's been putting out so far. So the way I'm figuring that we're going to be doing this, once the shows are done and they're in the books for Monday and Wednesdays, then probably going into the weekend most likely is when we'll have clips be up from the shows, letting you check out key moments and everything. But you're definitely encouraged to check out the full episodes. Support our audio version of the shows as well, on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Spreaker, Apple, iHeartRadio. We're all over the place. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. I am on Twitter for however long it's going to be called. I don't know what X. I don't know what the hell they're doing with that, but until they do the official name change, it's still Twitter. So you can get at me on Twitter and on Facebook at the RCWR Show. And that is going to do it. Shout out once again. Let me say this before we get ready to roll out, because I definitely want to make sure I show this brother a lot of love. Please, I implore you, check out the Nocturnal website and the great editorial piece that my good friend Julian Cannon did. He covered SummerSlam. He was able to take exclusive photos. He wasn't just there as a fan. He actually was invited as a member of the press media, and that did my heart a lot of good. It made me very proud of this young brother and how far along he has come in his reporting, media entertainment career. For me, that was a crowning achievement moment right there, because typically when you see some of these WWE press conferences, or you hear, a lot of these press conferences, there's hardly ever a representation of black people that's at these events. And so it did and I'm going to make sure I say this to him personally as well, but it did my heart a lot of good to see somebody that same ethnic background as me, same skin tone as me. It did my heart a lot of good to see somebody, that was in there. The hard work does pay off. The hard work does pay off. I see a lot of people say all the time, hey man, how come, like, well, if you want to try to change the system, you want to try to make sure that the best representation is out there, sometimes you got to be willing to roll up the sleeves, and you got to go out there and you got to get your hands dirty. You got to commit to it, and no matter how long it takes, see it through and everything. So check out his editorial piece. He took some really great pictures, full rundown. I believe he had asked Triple H a question. I know for a fact he asked LA Knight a question or two, which is pretty funny. So check that out. Support our friends over at Wrestling Soup. Shout out to them, Mission Joe. Love those guys. Got to circle back with them. I might do something as far as the AEW Collision Roundtable this weekend with them. I gotta just check out the schedule, see what they got planned. But I know for Rampage coverage this Friday, you guys can definitely catch me on the 401 Mania site and all that. Okay. See, any other shout outs I want to give? I think that's it. As far as shout outs. All right. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'll have this audio version mixed down for you guys Thursday night for your listening, downloading pleasure. Until then, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Take care, y'all.